Welcome to Season 3 of Seaview Circle. This is our recap podcast where we review our favorite TV shows and movies of the past, present, and possibly the future, all in service to an end goal to determine just how highbrow or lowbrow our viewing taste is.
And along the way, we talk about vintage fashion styles and locations that are sometimes lost to the decades.
Yes, and speaking of fashion, we are going to be giving you a very special episode today. We have actually been toiling away on this idea for a really long time, working behind the scenes feverishly. This is our version of Whatcha, Packin, but it's Yellowjackets style.
And we have actually been intrigued by this idea since we started watching the show. But really, since we started our Yellowjackets podcast, we kept thinking, wouldn't this be really cool to do just a special fashion episode?
Because these kids are out there stranded in the wilderness following a plane crash, and they only have a limited resource of clothes. They were only supposed to be gone for 7 days.
And they look fabulous.
And they look fabulous each and every episode. So we're going to get all into it. The masterful costume design that we have seen throughout each season of one of our favorite modern TV shows. Now, if you are watching us for the first time, my name is Brady.
I'm Doug.
And we have already covered Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3 of Yellowjackets. The first two seasons we just did in these really massive, long, one-episode recaps where our favorite things from each season. And then we did cover Season 3 episode by episode by episode by episode. So check it out. You can find that in our playlist on the YouTube channel. Now, we want to give a shout out. Obviously, we'll be probably talking about these people a little bit throughout this journey here today. The costume designers for Yellowjackets, we have Marie Schley. She did the pilot episode, right? And then she took a break and came back for episodes 8 through 10 of Season 1. And then she returned back in Season 3, did all 10 episodes of Season 3. Carolyn B. Marks helped out with the costume design of episodes 2 through 8 of Season 1. And then Amy Paris did all of Season 2. So we'll be referencing these costume designers and their work, specifically the challenges that they're faced with when they get a script and it has some crazy plot twists that maybe we weren't expecting, right? Now, a couple caveats here before we get started with this crazy list and the research that we have done here. This list is by no means complete, nor is it necessarily accurate. We might get a couple of the episodes wrong. We tried our best. We are going to be putting up slides that show evidence of what the research is, okay?
Yeah.
But I was going to say that we are only covering, about 40 or 50 looks in this particular podcast, and we actually tracked an additional 120 more. So there are tons, and if you really like this video, maybe we'll do a second part to it.
Yeah, and then our plan would be that when we get to Season 4 of Yellowjackets, we are hoping that we're going to see some of these outfits come back as well. But what we'd really like from you guys is if you see something that you notice that we haven't caught, it'd be great if you could comment on the item that we might have missed.
Absolutely.
And,
we are looking for that collaboration.
Right. I mean, we literally have had to comb through scene by scene, so it's really tough to know.
And
that
it gets
you got
a little
everything.
Crazy after a while. You're like,
yeah,
ah.
You start hallucinating, thinking, is that this? This looks like that one. But,
right.
And I think that's part of the tricky thing that we're going to show you is that many of these items, there might have been multiple outfits made or things that were made.
Or they're only on screen for a split second.
Yeah.
That happens a couple times.
And then sometimes you have things that you notice that the lighting is, in one scene it's very dark, so maybe it doesn't quite look like the same item.
The colors might be off a little bit.
You see it somewhere else and you're like, oh, that might be the same thing.
And we have read some interviews with the costume designers where they said they specifically put in Easter eggs or, hid them, intentionally made it a little difficult for you to see. Or they put in some red herrings as well, because as you know, the whole series starts off with that great flash forward to the pit girl scene, which, by the way, this entire episode includes spoilers!
Yes,
Spoilers!
yeah. So, if you haven't watched all of the show, then you better mute certain
or all
areas.
Of it, or all of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the costume designers have put in these red herrings because they want to hold off, the reveal of certain aspects from the plot until later on, right? So we'll discuss all of that. Another caveat is that sometimes we're going to ask for a little bit of suspension of disbelief. We're going to use creative license and suggest some possibilities of the journeys of some of these pieces. You'll see what we're talking about when we get there. And then one more thing we need to talk about is the extra jackets. Now, we did a whole special about the extra jackets. You know, those people in the background that you don't know who their names are.
Yeah, and he's obsessed with the extra jackets.
I am.
He's got a thing for them.
Yeah.
So
you can review that previous episode in this little link right here, but we will be referencing some people maybe with names or classifications that are based off the extra jackets episode. And so some people had some thoughts about our extra jackets episode saying that was incorrect, whatever. We stand by pretty much to what we originally said. There might be a couple things we would change, but for the most part in what we're doing today, we stand by those extra jackets classifications, and you will see what we're talking about when we get into it. Oh, and speaking of the pit girl scene we just referenced, in our timeline that we discuss when we go through these looks, we're going to discuss the scenes from episode 1, the pilot, when we're talking about episode 10 of season 3. Because
that's the full circle moment.
That's the full circle moment. And it just makes more sense because we're looking for the first time that the item is seen in the timeline and the last time we've seen it up until now in season 3. And we're also looking for the times when the item is swapped from one person to the next. And we'll see that happen several times. All right. Shall we get started, Doug?
Let's
oh my
do
gosh.
It
Must be like 15 minutes into the episode by now.
Yeah, but it's okay. And we got, we have some audio visuals.
We are doing this character by character, and we're going to have about 3 or 4 looks for each of the characters. So let's get started right now.
So I guess we're going to start alphabetically. We start with one of our favorites, Akilah.
Yes. And Akilah, I must say, has some of the easiest fashions to track. She's very consistent, and her clothes also stand out because they're often vibrant colors. So let's get into it. The very first episode, we have Akilah arriving on the plane, and she is wearing what we call the Pollock sweatshirt. Why is it? What do we call it?
I call it the Pollock because it looks kind of like one of these like 80s new wave sweatshirts where it's got some splashes of paint, kind of motif.
So it's like cream, and it has what is that? Like it's blue, magenta,
blue and green, turquoise. I don't know.
You know this
black,
sweatshirt. You have seen it. Now she wears this sweatshirt first on the plane in episode 1, and then she wears it several times throughout season 1. You see it in, all the way up through episode 10, right? And then it comes back in season 2 as well. We see it several times there. Well, actually 3 times there. And then what's interesting is that when it returns in season 3, there is a point where it's obviously, falling apart by now.
Yeah.
We've been to the spring, the summer, the fall, the winter. Now we're back in spring. So she's actually attached on another sleeve from another sweater. And actually, I have a screenshot, which I will be showing right now, of her teammate, Jen, wears a sweater that is that sweater in episode 10 of season 1, and she has attached it there. So,
and there's also little detailing as well, like kind of hot pink, which that comes from, but there's like a cuff.
Right.
And
it's interesting
some, like,
how,
waistband.
obviously, as they're out there longer and longer, they're bored. They're absolutely bored.
But they're also trying to, the costume designers are creating that illusion that time has gone by. These things have got weathered. I mean, if you're wearing this every day.
I mean, that still looks pretty good there in episode 5.
It looks great.
Now, this is actually seen all the way up until the 10th episode of season 3. It's kind of hard to see, but in the scene where she, it's like a kind of a flashback, the goat's dead, and it's like this ruse, you can see that she is wearing the same sweatshirt there. So from season 1, episode 1, all the way up to season 3, episode 10. That is one of Akilah's number 1 outfits.
Another outfit that Akilah wears quite a bit is the green, pink collared sweatshirt. And she wears this from season, I think it's like episode 3.
Right.
The beginning.
Right.
And that just keeps coming back all through the seasons as well.
Yeah, season 1, season 2, I think even in season 3, we see it a couple times. The last time we see this one is, I believe, in episode 8 of season 3. So another one of Akilah's MVP costume items. Now, up next, we have another Akilah look. This one's kind of interesting. This is we call it the rust, tan, and cream kind of knit vertical stripe sweater. This is first worn by Kia King in season 1, and then is taken up by Nia Sundai in the later seasons. I think we do see it in season 2 as well. And then we carry into season 3, and she's actually cut off the sleeves.
Right. The sleeves must have been so worn out at this point that, like, she just let it go. But You know, what's kind of interesting, too, is that you do see this layered up quite a bit, too.
Yeah, and I think didn't you read in one of the interviews with, I think it was the season 2 costume designer, that, because the crash happened in the spring, the Yellowjackets were not prepared to be there, for the winter. They're only going to be there for 7 days. So the idea was when they go into winter, they have to just layer a lot of thin, lightweight items in order to bulk up. And you see a lot of that, right? They wear like 4 shirts sometimes.
Yeah, you'll see and that's why sometimes it's difficult to even identify some of these things because you see one layer and then you see like a sleeve coming over. Something is a hoodie, but you didn't quite know it's a hoodie because there's all this other stuff over it.
Right, exactly. So I like that though. And this is springtime again, right? This is from season 3, episode 1, where they're doing that summer solstice. So she had to chop off the sleeves because now it's warm again, right? So that's another Akilah look. Then we also have this brown, black, and cream plaid hoodie, and she wears this a lot.
She's the queen of that hoodie. I mean, people on the show they do like a lot of flannel. So at least they did prepare for the wilderness a little bit, like I did today.
Yes.
Hello.
Oh, by the way, can we mention that we're wearing our season 3 yellow jacket crew pin?
Yes, thank you.
Provided by Ashley Sutton.
Thank you, Ashley Sutton.
Thank you very much. We had a great time at the Yellowjackets bingo event. That was Player One, I believe, arcade
Player One in North Hollywood.
That was right around the time of the finale of season 3. Really, really fun. Oh, we also won that Coach Ben.
Right, Coach Ben Funko Pop. So that I won that. Thank you very much.
Hello.
I will say this too. Ashley Lyle was my competitor, and she did let me win. But we had a deal. We made a deal beforehand. She said, if you get up there, I'll make you win. And vice versa, whatever. Right. So she was very kind to me. Thank you.
All right, back to the clothes. We have one more piece we wanted to showcase, and this was Akilah's sort of multicolored knit poncho. Now, this is a look that several Yellowjackets wear, as you know, throughout the hunt, right? We see this very much showcased, this look of these woven fabrics.
It's very chic.
And I did hear from another one of the costume designers. This was, I believe, the Marie Schley of season 3 or season 1, the pilot, because you can see the same kind of vibe in the pilot. The idea is, remember those like hand woven rugs or the pot holders? That's the idea. It's something you'd have like camping wise. So it's
like a loom. Like a loom
but
type
you could
thing.
hand do it. And you could hand do it. And that was the idea for those.
Well, let me just say, if she handed that, she did a great job because to me, it's like it's a pro. And obviously, a pro did do it.
It is one. Yeah, exactly. It's one of the great looks here for Akilah, who I think is one of the fashion mavens for sure. We see this starting off in episode 1 of season 3, and it carries all the way through. I believe there's that moment, of course, where she goes to the pen and she's freaking out because the animals. Remember that when it has that moment with Lottie? Yeah. It's like this weird tense moment. So that you see that very often in her journey in season 3. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the next character, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, now this is exciting. This is actually probably, I don't know, peaking too early perhaps, because this is one of the biggest items in the whole show here that changes place between people. This is first seen in the pilot, but we're not going to get there quite yet. We're going to talk about the original item, which was a sweater. It's kind of has this like geometric striping on it, like weird little check marks, and it's in different colors. Maybe it's like can't really tell if it's light pink or beige. It changes color depending on the scene. And it's hard to see sometimes, but we first detected it on the character who we call Proto-Brit. Okay, she is the extra jacket from season 1 that to me most closely could be the Brit that we get to know, or a little bit, I guess, in season 3. And ironically, the Brit in season 3 also wears this sweater.
Yeah, so I would.
But so do other people.
But I guess we could assume. Yes.
We'll assume that Brit packed. Whatcha Packin, Brit? She packed this sweater. That becomes a huge, iconic moment. We first see it in the Doomcoming episode, and then we see it again, switch hands, in episode 3 of season 2, worn by Misty.
She makes it famous.
Of course, she makes it famous. Then it switches hands again in episode 8 of season 2. This is when Mari senses that the walls are bleeding.
Yes.
And she is wearing the sweater right there. And then in the very next episode, we have none other than Pig Cat Melissa In the season finale, she must take that one out of the cabin when it burns down. Then we come back to season 3, episode 2, and there is Britt wearing it again. It's kind of a little hard to see, I would say.
Yeah, a little bit difficult.
But we can see it. And then finally, we have the person who really makes it famous. It is Van. Van is wearing this in the horrific scenes leading up to when they are force-feeding Coach Ben.
Yeah, it's pretty graphic. And
this is
scary.
where she turns it into a balaclava, right?
Right.
Cuts the holes in the eyes, and we have that moment there. This is the iconic piece, of course, that first freaked us all out in the pilot, and eventually we see it come back in the full circle moment, season 3, episode 10. There it is with that skunk top piece there, and then this is an image from the pilot. So
and once again,
very cool.
when I read about the costume designers, what they did is they might have created that item first.
The mask first.
They knew that this item was going to happen in the future. Maybe they didn't know what season, but they knew it was happening later in the timeline.
Right.
Then they had to think, okay, well, we'll make this sweaters. And they certainly made like multiples of these things.
Right.
There's even pictures that you can find online, just the multiple fabrics that they have there. So they were busy working away.
Anytime you shoot a film, this is in some ways a supernatural horror suspense. So there's going to be some action. There's going to be some blood. They're out there in the wilderness. There's going to be a lot of dirt. So they have to make multiples of all these items that are iconic, including this piece right here. It is one of the most iconic pieces, I think, in all of Yellowjackets lore. People always want to know who was the skunk person. And that's why when you show that in season 1 and season 2 and season 3 and you see that switching, you never quite know who it's going to be until that episode, right? Now, our dear new friend Britt, she also wears a couple other pieces in season 3 when she is officially established. The only piece that I really thought I'd mention was one that appears in season 3, episode 1, and that is this sweatshirt with like these silver rose pattern. So she wears that a couple times. Okay, but we're gonna move on from Britt, but she does provide us with one of the most iconic items. All right, up next, who's next? Doug.
Okay, so from Britt, the next up we have
Coach Ben.
Oh, he doesn't get a lot of variation, does he?
A lot of fashions, unfortunately. We are going to touch on just a few that we see all the time, and we're not going to belabor this, okay? He wears this yellow polo,
I would not.
All the time.
I don't want to know what that smells like.
Oh,
that's all I'm saying.
My gosh, especially by season 3 and all the things that are going on.
I mean, the amount of times he vomits too, and all that kind of stuff.
We first see it underneath his sweatshirt on the plane as he arrives. He looks so dapper. And
he looked so
back then.
He looked preppy. He looked like he was like, oh yeah.
He was so proud. He's taking his team to nationals.
To be quite honest, he looked very young too, and I think because obviously there was a time gap, from the pilot to season 3. You're like, geez.
So sadly, even by episode 2, Coach Ben's journey is already off to a very rocky start because remember when the plane crashes, a piece falls onto his leg and Misty has to amputate the leg, right? So from here on out, he is hobbling away. He is wearing the yellow polo quite often throughout seasons 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes it's hidden underneath other pieces of clothing. And then I would say his MVP item, though, is this gold and navy fleece zip-up jacket. Now, again, all of his stuff is really standardized, right? It's just this logo athletic wear. In fact, Travis also has an identical version of this jacket that he also wears. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But this jacket, again, just like the polo, it has been through so much.
Yeah, and that was another interesting thing that I read about. To show that he's losing weight and he's starving to death.
Yes.
They just kept giving him bigger versions of these items.
Yes. Right, because remember, he was ostracized after he potentially, maybe, who knows, burned down the cabin and he went to go live in the cave. So he's starving away on whatever's
Talking
left.
to
himself. Who knows? Hobby's
Seeing
friend.
his old boyfriend,
That's right.
all that stuff.
Now, the only other item from Coach Ben that we're going to talk about is just, again, this kind of standard Wisquiack High School baseball cap, right? We see it on actually Coach Martinez as well, who passes away in episode 2. There are, I think, a couple of these hats in play out there, and Coach Ben has one of them. Now, according to, I believe, Marie Schley, she says that Coach Ben's hat eventually ends up as Shauna's
spooky hat.
Ooh, that spooky Jack Skellington cap that she wears as a mask in The Hunt. Eek. But the other one, we could say maybe it's Misty who takes over Coach Martinez's hat because she wears one throughout season 2, I think, is when you see her wearing that a lot. Especially, I think it's when she goes to stop Coach Ben from jumping off a cliff and maybe then to go down and find Crystal's missing remains. Will we ever find out what happened to Crystal's
She didn't find the
body?
missing remains. She tried to find Crystal.
All right, so we're going to move on from Coach Ben to another daddy. A very famous
the
daddy.
most famous daddy, but in a way not so famous because we have not really been allowed to.
We haven't really been allowed in
experience
to the Cabin Daddy's life as much as we may have thought we were going to.
Right, that's Cabin Daddy.
We first see Cabin Daddy. Again, this is my inspiration today. Thank you very much.
That was fun. We got that in Portland.
Yeah, and I remember I even went live and I asked some of you people, should I buy this? And you all said yes.
Yeah,
so
that was a good deal. And even though technically outside it's about 80 degrees here in Los Angeles, we are wearing...
Doug hates it when I turn the air conditioning down when we're recording.
I was freezing to death here. You know,
That's Hollywood. That's Hollywood.
That's Hollywood, baby.
Okay, so the Cabin Daddy jacket, we can't really verify this because in episode 10 of season 1, when he appears that first time, it's very dark, my friends. It is very dark. We can kind of see.
Well, we actually, you know what we did is
to it?
We took the television set and we adjusted everything you could adjust on there, like highest contrast. So to get a little bit better view. Of course, I don't know if we're going to get an image that shows you.
Yeah.
If
we don't provide an image, if you have one, can you please let us know? We want to see if this really is the Cabin Daddy jacket that we come so familiar with in season 2. Let's start that journey, right? So after the Cabin Daddy may or may not wear the jacket in that
it's a game for the kids. Follow the Cabin Daddy jacket.
Exactly.
Let's follow the Cabin Daddy.
This is prolific, my friends, because we first see Travis wearing it in episodes 1 and 2 of season 2. Then Nat takes it over in episode 3, which, of course, then means that Lottie has to wear it in episode 4.
Yeah, and you know, we could even talk about, if you want to get real esoteric, some people are surmising that maybe if you wear the jacket, that means you're going to die. You know, but I don't know, like, because obviously...
I mean, Travis died as an adult in season 1. Nat died as an adult in season 2. And Lottie died as an adult in season 3.
But you see,
the next person to wear it is Melissa.
Right, now Melissa...
Will Melissa pass away in season 4?
We don't know. But we do know that she is not dead yet as of the end of season 3.
Now, intriguing is that in episode 7, we have Paul, Ben's boyfriend, wearing it in this like weird dream sequence.
Yes.
Okay. This is our good friend Francois Arnaud.
And you know, now he's so popular because Heated Rivalry is a huge hit.
Wow.
And he was
and of
one
course, Sophie Nélisse was in that as well. Did you all enjoy Heated Rivalry? Did you enjoy his Heated Rivalry?
I enjoyed it.
I'm passing him a microphone and he actually has one.
I have a microphone here. I don't need one. I enjoyed Heated Rivalry.
What was your favorite part?
Well, I'm going to say this. At first, I was a little like, I'm not so sure about this. But I think that actually Francois Arnaud, is that how you pronounce his name? When his character came into the picture, then it was actually way more interested in the show.
But
and I loved his story.
Saw Francois' butt.
I don't know if we saw his butt, but you know what? I really liked him, and it was just nice to see more of him. So
yes, it was nice to see
I'm really
more
happy he's getting more action, and I really, really hope that we're going to see him in season 4. I hope.
We have to see him
because we're going to get that timeline.
Come back, and Coach Ben isn't there, he's going to be upset about it.
Yes.
Don't you think?
So
maybe he could face off with Sophie Nélisse.
And I mean, that's the only thing I could think of right now is if it was me doing the casting, I would be making sure
yes, exactly.
that he was there. But I don't know.
Can we make sure that he is on set, my friends?
I don't know what the writers have in store, right? We don't know. But that would be a smart move, I think.
All right, now back to the Cabin Daddy Jag. A couple other mentions. We do have in episode I believe it's 8
Yeah.
of season 2, we have Shauna holding the Cabin Daddy jacket, though she does not put it on. So I don't know what that means about our theory. Then moving ahead to episode 3 of season 3, we have again another dream sequence where we have Cabin Daddy's arm with that jacket coming to grab Van. Van also passes away as an adult in season 3. Ooh, it's starting to get interesting here.
Yeah.
Now, we do have, again, Travis picking up that jacket one more time in episode 8 when they're doing the unmerge. I believe Travis just has the jacket kind of bundled up in his pack.
Yeah.
9 and 10, you can see him wearing it. At that point, the Cabin Daddy jacket is finally looking a little shabby because when he first shows up wearing it, it's like brand spanking
it's
new.
pristine. It's come from the dry cleaner.
Now, let us not forget that somewhere out there, there is a lost Cabin Daddy episode of Yellowjackets starring Jason Ritter, and we have seen the production photos, and he is wearing the Cabin Daddy jacket.
And I gotta tell you,
must have been the reason why they did that in season 2.
And you're gonna think I'm really weird, but I actually had a dream last night about the Cabin Daddy episode.
Night?
Well, because we've been working on this, we were talking about it, and I literally had a dream last night where I was speaking to Jason Ritter, and I was trying to find out what really happened in the episode, because I figure we're never going to get to see it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it's weird. I had that. I don't know if that was early this morning or what, but.
Interesting. Oh, that would have been so much. If we could film
Maybe we're going to have to try to find Jason Ritter somehow.
We're just going to do it. We're going to reenact the story, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to play Cabin Daddy because I have the jacket, and you're going to play my 2-year-old daughter.
Oh, great. Yeah. Maybe she'll show up. Now let's talk about Crystal the Pistol.
Yay!
Now, I'm so short-lived as a character.
Yeah.
The one thing that really stood out to us is that rose jacket.
Dusty Rose.
Dusty Rose.
I don't know if that's denim. I don't know if it's
I don't know,
canvas. But it's very striking. And so this really kind of interesting pattern there. She wears this jacket every single episode she appears, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and I think she...
fateful end.
Right, and she even wears it to the bitter end. When she gets pushed...
She died wearing the jacket!
When she falls off the cliff, she wears that jacket. So that's the Dusty
I'm
Rose.
hoping when we finally figure out what happened to her body, we see some remnants of this jacket lying around.
I hope so, too. Now, she also has one other interesting item, which I actually had never noticed this, but she's wearing a Music Man T-shirt. I don't know if you can see the Music Man album behind us, but
I was in the Music Man. I played Charlie Cowell. Thank you very much.
Should I pull it out?
No, just leave it.
Okay, it's this image.
I don't want to mess up the moss placement.
Right, don't
you know what I mean?
screw up the moss, okay? It's funny because of the character itself. You know, she's really into musicals, and that's where she bonded with Misty.
Right.
So they would always be singing all these different songs from other musicals. So that is another... just kind of a little interesting tidbit that she's
you
wearing.
only see that once, I think. Maybe you see it again.
Twice, I think. Twice.
Wearing the Music Man T-shirt that she brought with her to the wilderness. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Dig it.
All right, moving on. We're going to talk very briefly about this. This is Edwin. He is one of the Froggers.
Yeah.
Okay. He has this little plaid shirt on here. We're only going to mention it because his little partner in crime there, Hannah, wears it after he passes away. I believe I remember there was an interview with Ashley Sutton where she was talking about her experience filming Yellowjackets season 3, and she wanted to play a game, you know, with some of these clothes, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And I do think that there's an interview with Liv Hewson where they also talk about how at this point in season 3, there is collaboration between the actors and the costume department, because at this point, the actors know their characters pretty well. So they want to make sure that their characters being represented. And didn't you say something like Liv said that if there was anybody that they would be swapping clothes with, it would be Javi or Travis, right?
Right.
And we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. So here we have, though, in full circle, we have Hannah wearing Edwin's jacket. All right, up next, we have the character of Jen. Now, as we know, Jen in the first season was played by Maya Lowe. Now, according to the production schedule that was released, stating that, well, actually, as of the time that this episode airs, Yellowjackets Season 4 will begin production any day now in Vancouver. Maya Lowe is listed in there in the cast.
Oh, wow.
So I presume that the original Jen will be back for Season 4. One of the outfits that we see her wear quite often, and we're going to get to the one she wears the most a little bit later on, a little spoiler alert there, but she does wear this long blue dress with red flowers. We see it first in episode 2 of season 2, and then it carries on a couple more times, and then we get into season 3. Its most famous moment is when they're trying to get the arrow out of Melissa.
Oh, yeah, this is really graphic.
What's his name? Kodiak
Yeah.
shot her with the arrow, and there's that moment where it's just like super, super horrific. So that poor dress is done for at that point. But she does wear a lot of these kind of outfits, these same kind
she's
of
into the florals.
blue dresses with flowers. There's several variations, but this is the long version, the long dress.
And of course, she's got the layering. Again, she'll wear a dress, but she'll have a sweater like
Under and over it.
under a spaghetti strap dress. Right, I mean, you don't do that, but
Talk about this look here. This is one of your favorites, right?
Oh, okay. So this look, obviously, this is another one of these creations from the costume designers where they're like starting to use items.
And remember that
from
she
the plane.
became the hunter in season 3, right? So that it makes sense that she would be wearing already a little pelt. This is early on, I think. In season
this
3.
is and when you really look at it, it's a skunk.
Yeah.
So she's got the skunk.
And
now
that
I wonder
could
if that's
be a red herring, right?
And could that be the skunk that was on Van's head?
Imagine that, and if you see that, you might think, "Oh, she's the skunk," right?
Right.
Early on, before we get to that point,
right? But she's got the seatbelt, the kind of airline seatbelts.
Yes.
And we'll see other characters wearing items that are made out of those too.
Now, the other piece there that I really like is that kind of, it's like a waistcoat, but it's like embroidered or whatever, dark pattern. You can't
embroidered
really see it.
Waistcoat.
But I first spotted this actually in season 2. I think you see it in episode 208, and it's kind of hidden under a jacket or something. So, but if you really got that eagle eye going, which sometimes you got to be to track these items, that's where you first see that item.
Now on to one of my favorite looks, and it's Hannah, played by Ashley Sutton.
Yes.
It's a purple fleece.
You were saying it's like Patagonia.
I think it's Patagonia. It looks like a Patagonia.
Very much so. Very
and
much.
it has these...
she has a Frogger. She would be wearing
it has these aqua kind of like pockets on it.
She's more prepared. They're more prepared to be out there in the forest than the Yellowjackets, right? They were planning to be there.
I kind of wish I was wearing that right now because I'm cold, but...
I would really like that, to be honest. It's very cool.
I could see wearing that.
She wears this, I think, throughout the entire rest of the season. This first appears like in 306, and we see her, multiple times. I was wondering if this was the same one that Misty wears that you see in the pilot when she pulls up the poncho for that reveal, but it is a different one. So this is just there. I believe it does change hands though, right?
Yes.
Because there is the big, huge swap in episode 10 when she and Nat switch clothes.
Right.
So that Nat can run up to the top of the mountain.
And get up to
deliver that message.
Right, to the sat phone. Hello.
All right. Now, the other cool thing, though, is that when we see her in episode 7, I believe, Croak, when we kind of get her backstory over the last couple of days, we see her wearing this green sweater with the white stripes. And I noticed that even she has swapped her clothes because there she gives it over to Ty in episode 10 of the same season. Love that.
Yep.
All right, now we are with our iconic queen.
The queen. We're actually watching Fallout right now with Ella Purnell. So we're really enjoying the fact that we get to still see more of her because we did lose her after, but then we did get to see some cameos after she was dead.
Of course, we keep seeing that Letterman jacket.
She might even come back again.
I think so. I think we're going to have her back. I hope so.
But
let's talk about the most iconic item that she wears, right? It is this butterfly shirt, right?
Yeah.
It's got the 3 butterflies. She wears it in the pilot when she's coming on the plane with the Letterman jacket. We can kind of say in a way that those two items kind of go together. The Letterman jacket also goes, though, with that other shirt, which is the blue and white striped polo. It's like a long sleeve sweatshirt. So all 3 of these items are iconic Jackie looks, and we see them throughout season 1. And then because she dies right out in the cold wearing the blue and white striped polo and the Letterman jacket, that is how she appears in these visions to people, whether it's Shauna as an adult or Shauna as a child, right? Teenager.
I will say, I think the butterfly top is probably the hippest piece of clothes that she has, because everything else she has is really boring. Like, it's like the preppy handbook. LL Bean catalog,
I mean,
whatever.
It
it's
looks
boring.
good on her. Like when she wears
she rocks it well.
The yellow V-neck sweater, or there's another V-neck
sweater.
But
it's very traditional East Coast. It's just kind of yuppie stuff.
Yeah. And you do see that the costume designers have used that kind of thematic of Jackie in the blue and white striped shirts. They carry that over into Callie. That's kind of a tie-in to kind of always haunt Shauna for all the things that she did, because she was
Shauna is
the
a
result
bad bad girl
of Jackie dying, let's be honest. Okay, so let's talk about, though, the butterfly shirt in particular. This we see, obviously, in the first episode, and we see it again later on when she is at the lake. I believe that is episode 8.
Yes.
That is the last time that we actually see Jackie wearing the shirt, but it has a resurgence towards the end.
Well, because it gets a new owner.
Yes.
It has a new owner in...
Shauna is obsessed with Jackie, as we know. She was in love with Jackie.
She even ate her ear.
And she wears the butterfly shirt in combination with this red plaid shirt. Oh my God, she wears it so often. She wears it first in the episode where she beats the heck out of Lottie.
Hard to watch, that one.
And then she carries it out of the cabin during the fire, apparently. And we see it really all the time in season 3, right? That red plaid and the butterfly shirt. We see it over and over and over. I believe we even see it in episode 10 of season 3. So that is an iconic look, really, for both Jackie and Shauna. All right, we've already talked about the Letterman jacket being part of the visions that people have of her memory. And we've also talked about the polo and blue white striped sweatshirt that we see all the way through as well as part of the visions. Another piece we wanted to look at, though, and this is where we do ask maybe that you...
the suspension of belief.
Suspend your disbelief a little bit here, because in the first episode, if you remember, there is the scene where they have the party before they go to nationals.
Yeah.
And Jackie is wearing this pink denim jacket, okay?
But that, to me, when I look at that, I'm sure she brought it with her.
Well, we think she brought it with her, but we don't have any evidence, right?
Maybe somebody else will see it. I don't know.
Yeah, if anybody has evidence that she actually brought the jacket with her on the trip to Seattle, that would be great. But what we noticed is that in episodes 6 and 10 of season 1, the proto-Brit is wearing a pink denim jacket that looks very familiar.
Yeah.
And even more interesting is that once we get to season 2 and Jackie has passed away, and also Proto-Brit is nowhere to be seen until she becomes Brit in season 3, Jen is wearing a pink denim jacket all the time.
And maybe the idea would be there would be limited amount of clothing available, right? Maybe things were left at the airplane, whatever. So these items could be circulated amongst the whole crew of people left.
And a pink denim jacket, well, certainly Shauna's not going to wear a pink denim jacket.
Right. She's not wearing
But Jen would wear it because she's into the floral prints and stuff like that. So it kind of makes sense. We can't verify it totally that it's the same pink denim jacket, but it certainly is curious. It certainly could be.
Yeah.
All right. So now we are moving on from our queen, Jackie, and we're moving on to Javi. Just really quick. Come on, the boys don't have very interesting clothes. Let's be honest.
Javi's clothes, we got to do the best we can do.
Now, Javi does have a few items that we do see recycled a couple times. We're only going to mention this one that is kind of like, I don't know if it's heather gray or if it's beige. I can't really quite tell. It changes color depending on the light, but there's like kind of olive or green stripes on it. I do believe this turns into some sort of like scarf or face mask or something when it gets cold. I think Travis wears a portion of
that would
shirt
make
later.
sense as homage to his brother.
Absolutely.
At least one would hope.
All right, now we're going to move on to Miss Laura Lee.
Laura Lee, also gone too soon. Gone too soon.
I heard that the writers actually were not planning on having her be around very long, but when they got to know the actress, Jane Widdop, they're like, oh, we want to give her more stuff to do. So I think she was definitely a good addition to the cast in season 1. We do see a very iconic piece in episode 1. This is the long billowy dress that she wears to that same party we just referenced, right? And she wears it under a jacket, I believe. And this, we surmise, is Lottie's infamous Doomcoming dress.
And through research as well.
I correct me if I'm wrong out there. Doesn't she say that sometime in the episode in Doomcoming that she's wearing at some point? I believe
I think so, but maybe somebody else can remind us.
This dress goes on quite a journey. Now, we didn't actually see Laura Lee wearing it out in the wilderness, but maybe she does. Someone let us
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. I looked really hard. I did not see it in the wilderness, but I saw it the night before they left. So that's
Right.
the one.
So we do see, though, Lottie wearing this gorgeous piece. We see it first in the Doomcoming and the following episode, which shows the aftermath of those events. And then, of course, she wears it in, I believe, underneath some clothing in season 2. And I believe she wears it out of the cabin during the fire. And then we see it again in season 3, at which point... when the Froggers come, she's wearing it, I believe, underneath the cloak for the eating of Ben ceremony.
After she was screaming loudly,
yes.
like
and
a
then
banshee.
she uses the axe to kill Edwin, and suddenly Lottie's Doomcoming dress is irrevocably damaged.
Whoops. I guess we're not going to see it after that
And she
point.
just stands there in a daze for like 2 days wearing this bloody dress. Wow. Amazing. Okay, let's see. What else does Laura Lee wear? Laura Lee is famous for this piece, right? This
Her
is this...
seafoam green cardigan, little button. She's
I
always
don't
got
think there's an episode in season 1 that she's in that she doesn't wear that.
Yeah, that's to me when I think of her, I see her wearing that seafoam green.
All right, now let's move on to, I think we're on to Lottie now, right?
Yeah, we're going to Queen Lottie.
Oh, right. It's Queen Lottie. You notice how we just call everybody Queen? I mean, I think it makes sense.
At whatever moment we reach them, they can become a queen. Queen for a day.
Yes.
Okay, so one of her most iconic looks that we see from pretty much the beginning, from the time she gets on the plane.
Right.
It's Lottie's faux fur cropped
Oh my
giant
gosh.
jacket.
This jacket is actually really cool.
I do really like
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I mean, it could be, I don't know, is it faux fur though?
Yeah, that's a good question. Now, of course, this, I believe, is only seen in the first couple episodes of season 1, but then it is, I think, in every episode of season 2. This is an iconic look that she wears throughout that hard, cold, bitter winter out there. And then she does wear it again towards the end of season 3. This is during that period where they're getting ready to go. They think they're, obviously the Froggers have come. They're going to escort them out of the wilderness, and things are going to be great.
They're packing their bags and
But
they're
then
heading out of
Lottie
town.
and Shauna and Thaisa decide to stay, and they muck everything up. So that is where we last see that fur jacket. Now she does have, and we'll just talk about it now, she has that other like kind of version that she made.
Right. That's more of like a real animal pelt
Yeah.
fur type of thing.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's from like a bear or...
I don't know what that is, but it's gorgeous. And this is one of those moments where we're like, okay, the costume designers are working overtime here out in the wilderness.
But I don't know
Where
if-
are the looms? Where are the luggage racks?
I mean, it's just
Who's
crazy.
steaming
It's
these
like
things?
the wardrobe came through. All right. So like, and then when they ran out of the cabin, when it went on fire...
yeah.
They must have had
Where did all that fabric come from for those summer solstice robes? It's crazy.
Unless they kept everything at the plane.
Or maybe there was a tarp somewhere that they were able to...
Remember there was the area where like Jackie was kept in, which was
Yeah.
like near the
There
food
was like
shed.
a metal shed.
Right. So maybe that did not burn. Maybe they used to keep stuff there.
Right.
Who knows?
Right. I will say this, the beautiful, beautiful costume design in season 3, it may be a little over the top for what they would be able to do out there, but it is gorgeous, and it did win Marie Schley a nomination for the Canadian something something awards, I don't know, best costume design, so congratulations, those pieces did look amazing. We thought all of season 3, episode 10, which is what she's nominated for, looked like an entire collection from Jean-Paul Gaultier.
Right. Now
And this jacket was amazing. Remember, it also had the feathers coming off the
Oh
back?
yeah.
All right, another great look that Lottie wears, we see in the same party we were just talking about before going to nationals. It is this kind of salmon pink, it's like a, what is
Kind
that?
of hair.
Wool?
You know what? It looks like
Mohair
mohair to
yeah.
me. It looks like a 1950s mohair sweater. It's very like super vintage
And
looking.
she's pairing this with a little pink plaid skirt.
Pleat.
Now, pleated,
yeah,
yes.
pleated plaid skirt.
And
Say that fast.
yeah, pink pleated plaid skirt.
Pink pleated plaid skirt.
All right, the reason why we reference this, we only see it that one time. We don't believe she takes us to Seattle, right? But it does appear in Lottie's sort of passing dream, this transitional moment, much like when Nat is on the plane and Van is also on the plane when they're having that moment. This is the moment they're at the morgue, I guess, and she shows up wearing the exact same outfit. So this
yes.
must have been like a favorite outfit of Miss Lottie Matthews.
It's cute.
Yeah. Also, we have the bright lime green and white cardigan, or I don't know if it's a cardigan or a sweater.
Yeah, it's like a cardigan. And to be honest, like when I see this, to me it looks very acrylic. it's very light and see-through-y. At the thrift store, you would see it.
Oh, okay.
It's a little.
I know what you're talking
You know
about.
what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
chenille?
Chenille. That's it. It looks like
It could be
green
chenille.
and white chenille. That would be what I would
We
call
first
it.
see this in episode 4 of season 1, Bear Down, and then it does appear one more time in season 1. And what's interesting is it pops up way later again in season 3. And it makes sense again because, in season 1, it is also spring, summer into fall, and season 3 is also spring, summer into fall. So it makes sense we'd see some of these repetitions of those early looks. Okay, now we also want to talk just quickly about another piece that we see quite a bit. We have the pink and white striped pajama set, which I think is very Lottie Matthews. Remember, she's the wealthy one.
She's always wearing that very expensive pajamas.
And we see that a couple times in season 1. And then there is this white, what is that, cap sleeve?
It's cap sleeve, boat neck.
You would think like kind of a throwaway look. It's not much going on there. There's red, yellow, green stripes.
Yeah.
But we actually see this a lot.
Quite a few times.
Yeah, this one first shows up, I believe, in episode 6 of season 1, and then we see it a couple times in season 2, right? But it's underneath a lot of stuff, kind of gets buried, and then it makes another appearance in season 3. So we love to see that across all 3 seasons. Now, another piece that we wanted to talk about was this, right?
Oh, yeah. So this was also another thing that was interesting upon reading about the costume designers, that what they were told, I think, after the fire sequence is that they got blankets out of the cabin.
Yeah.
So they used a lot of these blankets as costumes for season 3. And many of them look very like militant in a way, but like you will see it. We'll talk about it a little bit later with some of the other characters. But what was really interesting about this one is that Cabin Daddy jacket is being worn by Travis.
Yeah.
And then we have Lottie in many of the same scenes, and she's wearing very similar
It's
fabric.
almost identical.
It's almost identical,
Yeah.
but it is very clearly
Same
like
colors.
a blanket, and it's got little tassels on the end or whatever. So like she's kind of fashioned.
And again,
made a
she
poncho
wears
out
it
of
very well. This is definitely a fashion maven here.
She wears everything well. 'Cause
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
like,
She looks great in
she's
this
beautiful,
piece, I have to say.
And she could wear.
So,
She could wear a rubber
and this
band.
is really at this point where she's kind of taking on this character of this, group shaman. Let's be honest, right? She's in touch with the spirit world. She's in touch with the wilderness, the nature.
Yeah, and everyone's coming
the
to
nature
her.
spirits, right? And she's trying to get poor Akilah to do all these crazy visions where she's huffing those fumes, remember? And this is that look that she's wearing that's very kind of witchy and kind
Right,
of
and she's
inviting, you
and
know?
she's making sure that Travis is stoned all the time,
yes,
so that
yes,
he can
right.
engage in the visions too.
Crazy.
So it's definitely a witch look.
Yes. Now, up next, we're going to look at this piece, which also ends up being completely iconic. What is this?
Lottie's netting overdress.
That's what we're calling it.
It's very fashion. I mean, like
do you think that
this is again. This
do
looks
you
like
think
it
she-
came out of the runway.
Well, and do you think she packed that, or do you think she repurposed that from something like
I
maybe
think
in the
she
cabin?
repurposed it from the cabin.
Yeah.
Maybe there were some fishing nets or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
That would be what I would
Well,
think.
and I think that the costume designer, Marie Schley, she probably was thinking, gosh, we have to get to the iconic Antler Queen outfit by the end
Yeah.
of this season. They knew that's where they were going. We didn't know at that time that we were getting there, but they knew. So let's introduce this piece early on. This is episode 5 of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
She wears this a lot. We see this all the way up through, I think, the rest of the season. And then, of course, there's that iconic moment where she is dressing.
Right.
They're all dressing Shauna in the netting dress, and they put it over her head, and then they put it over the antlers, and there it is, that amazing look that was so scary when we saw it in the pilot, and we didn't know at all who it
it's a shame
was.
I don't have any
Netting.
The netting here. I put it over that little antler over there.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on from Lottie, and let's take a look at
She's Princess.
Princess Mari. Okay,
Princess Mari.
that totally fits.
Well,
We're going to start with Mari's most ubiquitous look. This is the Yellowjackets logo hoodie.
Yeah.
She arrives on the plane wearing this thing.
She wears it a lot.
She wears it a lot. She wears it so much that even by episode 1 of season 2, it's already filthy.
Yeah.
And then it just gets worse from there. I mean, she wears this all the time, and I definitely think
It's like her security blanket.
you could say that, right? You could say that is. And some of these people have attachments to these Yellow Jackets clothes because they're part of their identity as a sports person, you know, a soccer player literally out there. They're trying to hold on to whatever they can from their home life, right? So we see that, let's see, I think we see it all the way up. Yeah, just like the Akilah Pollock, we see this one in episode 1 of season 1 all the way up to episode 10 of season 3.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, what else is iconic for Miss Mari? Oh, how about that white nightie? The white nightie, of course, they faked us out. Remember at the beginning of season 3, when she's being chased by Shauna and Shauna bites her in the arm, which is all these foreshadowing moments, right? That's the episode called It Girl. Everybody was always saying Mari was the pit girl because it's possible she looks like her, da-da-da-da-da. And then in the end, she was the pit girl.
But I think they threw us for a loop because everybody kept thinking it was somebody else.
There's no way it's going to be her if they're just... okay. So anyway, so he's wearing that baby doll dress in episode 1 of season 3. It looks terrible, by the way. Really filthy. Ugh. And then she wears it a little bit later on. And then, of course, the nightie, as we know, we see in episode 10. And that is, of course, the flashback or flash forward or whatever you want to call it to the pilot as well. That's that look. Then we also have the anorak. This is actually, I think, my favorite of the Mari looks because it is so specific to her. Like, I just know right when I see that.
Right. You see that, you know it's Mari. It's the fuchsia sleeves, teal and like gold nylon jacket.
Yeah.
And it's like a zip up.
We first see this in episode 10 of season 1. And so that's really cool how they are able to take that iconic piece, because it really is iconic in the end, because that is what she is wearing right before the hunt starts. Doing the card draw, and she takes that off in the middle of the hunt. And you know, right then and there.
Yeah. At that point, then we all know. And of course, then she takes her shoes off too. Yeah. It's like, all right, here we go.
Here we go.
Here it comes.
That piece that we first see in episode 10 of season 1, we see that several other times in season 2. Sometimes it is obscured, though, by other jackets and things, but you can see that little hoodie sticking out there, that little teal hoodie. Now, we're also going to talk about this look, which I think is fun.
It's the terracotta. Yeah, she wears that terracotta polo. It's like literally polo brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then that carries on through as well. Doesn't that carry on through to season 3?
That's up to season 3. That's that moment where she's kind of fantasizing about what life's going to be like when she gets back home and she puts down whatever it is and she picks it up and it's a Slurpee.
Oh, yeah. That was fun, that little scene.
Yeah. Hey, we're about to board a plane, but I just want to let you know that in part 2 of our Whatcha Packin Yellowjackets costume special, we'll be tracking Melissa's pink hat, Misty's cat shirts, Nat's leather jacket, Robin's rose raincoat, Shauna's plaid everything, Ty's patchwork jeans, very little of Travis's boring clothes, Van's co-ed naked t-shirt, and so much more.
Come on, Brady, we got to get on the plane.
Okay.
Now.
Stay hungry, friends, and we'll see you then back on the sack.